All right, all right. Welcome to another episode of Mornings with Movers. We have Ryan Marsh in the building joining me today. Um, Cliff and Phil. Phil, I know that is out doing things right now, kids' graduation. So congrats on that. And I know Cliff is out there crushing it as well. So we're gonna get to it and just talk about what's going on in the industry right now. What's going on, Ryan?
What's up, man? How are you doing, Dwight? I appreciate
Uh,
you giving me another opportunity to pop on and chop it up with y'all.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Now it's been like I told you before, the meeting, it's been stressful, so many things going on and just trying to, I think, overthink the situation is what's really been the hard point of like just get it started, don't overthink it, don't have compare syndrome. And I think compare syndrome is a hard thing for a lot of people.
No, man, you're spot on. It gets to that point, and again, we kind of talked about this, I don't know, a while back, I would say, but at what point do you launch? At what point do you put the car in drive and take it down the road? Because until you really put that car in drive and take it down the road, you don't know if your tire's a little flat or something like that, or that's a bad example, but is your steering off kilter? Do you need a wheel alignment or something like that, right? So in my side business piece that we do, it's like the same thing. I struggled day in, day out of trying to come out with the perfect product, the perfect customer service and what have you. And I kept tweaking and tweaking, yet I never launched, right? So it just got to the point where it was like, we got to launch, we got to execute on what we know. And basically at that point, we can start feeling the bumps in the road, and we can see, hey, are we on the road, or are we in between the mayonnaise and the mustard, sort of say, or are we driving on the wrong side of the street? But with that, you've got to be able to pivot rather quickly and see these things kind of, upcoming. So I almost look at it as like a pilot, right? I mean, it's pretty cool. Back in the day, like turbulence would just kind of hit you, and everybody kind of got hit with turbulence. And now, as much as I'm flying, it's like the pilots are like, hey, in 15 minutes, you better strap up because we're gonna hit some turbulence. So I think the ability to be able to see that turbulence, sort of say, forthcoming, is critical when you're doing anything. But man, I think Dwight, just get it rolling, my man. Put that car in drive and let the audience and yourself kind of figure out where you may need to tweak. And obviously, once you get driving or flying, you're going to see that turbulence coming rather quickly, I would think.
Definitely. What's going on? And a warrior coach, Clifford.
What's up? What's up? Right, great to see you, Ryan. Great to see you.
What's
Yeah,
up, my man?
famous
How are
last
you?
name.
Doing good, brother. It's great. I'll tell you, I don't know what I stepped into, but I know it's amazingness because Ryan and Dwight are here, so I'm listening in. Holy crap.
Uh-huh. We dropping those gems. But
Yeah,
uh,
I'm hearing about the
um
turbulence. I know about the turbulence.
Oh yeah, man. I'm sure you could see that punch coming back, and then you're like,
Oh,
oh shoot, here
yeah.
it comes, right? But
yeah, no, it's crazy because it's easier said than done to not be a perfectionist. Um and I think I don't know. It's easier said than done. We tell people, we tell our clients all the time, like, hey, you know what? Don't be a perfectionist. Just, get it on a piece of paper. If you're creating a process, write it in bullet points. You don't have to fill in the bullet points. Just put it on paper, tweak it later. But I think for me, being a perfectionist, it's like I'll put it on paper, but then as I'm reading through it, I'm like, no, no, it's a grammatical error there. We got to fix that. And, and, and then it's just like I keep tweaking. So like I made these amazing spreadsheets that I just keep tweaking because I'm just like, there's an answer for everything. Like my sales manager used to come up to me and like, so what do we do in this case? Oh, well, you got a question? Oh, let me add that to the spreadsheet. Let me make sure you don't have that question come up again. And it's just, I don't know. It's one of those things where I just don't want to be bothered. So I want to get it right the first time.
I think, man, if you can again, nobody's perfect, right? I mean, we all think sometimes, hey, this is the perfect piece, this is this, or I was perfect today, whatever the case is. But I'd say, man, if you're 80% there, 80% on, let's go. That other 20% is going to be kind of that art and that finesse where you can make that tweak. So I'd say, man, if anything, and that's kind of anything, whether it's a moving company or any business, if you're 80% of the way there, leverage that other 20% to really put your personal twist, your spin, your tactics, or whatever it may be. Just that really finesse piece is that other 20% would be. And that's what I ended up doing because, again, I was about 80% there with my business. And I'm just like, you know what? That other 20% is where really kind of as you're going through the motions, you can tweak and finesse and really kind of have some fun with. So if you're 80% there, man, like to me, 80% is pretty close to perfect because
Hmm.
nobody's perfect, right? Except Cliff.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
similar to,
and
go
I'll
ahead, go
say
ahead.
it on the perfect part. So this is how my mind works, and I don't know if it will serve you guys or the audience. Hopefully it does. We're all perfect. We're all perfect because we just have to take an action. And the beauty of it is when you take an action that you've never taken, well, you're the only person who's taken the action. So we don't even know what the result's going to be. So it is a perfect action. But we get in our heads like, what if this happens? Well, we don't know until we actually take the action. So your action is a perfect action. Just take it in the way that you know how to take it and let the chips fall wherever they fall.
That's a great way to put that, Cliff. I never thought about that. I'm going to say I'm uniquely perfect then.
Yes. Yes. Amen.
So what do you think about the comparison syndrome, Cliff? And I know that you've been a fighter, so I know you probably looked up to a lot of other fighters in your field. And like, what do you feel towards that comparison syndrome where you feel like I want to be like this
So
person?
there's a saying, there's always two sides to everything. Two sides to a coin, two sides to a piece of paper, two sides to a hand. Whatever you have also has an opposite side to it. So if I was comparing myself to you guys, well, it's not going to serve me. It's not going to benefit me. But if I collaborate with you and work with you, well, now I'm in service and now you're serving me and we're both working together. And so I look at life and go, okay, whatever I'm feeling, is this actually giving me the result that I'm looking to get? And most of the time, people's minds feed them so much bullshit where they're like, here, have some of this. Here, enjoy some of this. Hey, how's that tasting? Like, I don't want to eat that. I want to eat something different. I'm looking for a different flavor. So when I do get in that state, I get aware of it. Like, is this actually serving me? I just ask the question, is this serving me? No, it's not. All right, let me reframe. That's how I work with it.
Gotcha. Cliff make things sound so simple.
I love what you're saying, Cliff. And we actually chatted about this I think last Friday, right? I was coming back from picking up my car from the airport, what have you. And Dwyght,
Yeah.
what's really worked for me is, when I was a mover, I was me, right? I was me to the customers. I wasn't trying to pretend to be somebody or talk like somebody or act like somebody. I was being me, and it was successful. It worked. When I transition over to Super Move, right? And I'm putting on presentations, I'm doing webinars and things. I was not being me. I was trying to be like the guys in the industry that have been doing it for 20 years. I was trying to be like the Ben Crosses of the world, having a podcast where it's just absolute fire, right? But it wasn't me. I was using words that weren't my words. I was using other people's words or big terms that just wasn't me. And it took a little bit, but once, I felt like I had to prepare a hell of a lot more too, right? So when you're trying to be like somebody or trying to talk and act and try to put on that persona like, hey, I'm this guy or I'm that guy for this presentation, but the next presentation I'm this guy, I found myself having to prepare 10x more than if I just went out there. I know what I know who I am, I know my story, and just letting it go like that, being myself, saying a couple bad words here and there, and using the terms and language that I use, so much easier. I captivated so much more of the audience, and it became really, really successful just being me. Now, I don't know all the answers, right? But I know what I know and I know it well. So if I just continue to be me, and I know I've said be me about 15 times here, but
Mm.
it's so much easier rather than try to be like the industry pro or the best guy in the industry. Like, no, be Dwyght. We know Cliff is Cliff, which is awesome. And Ryan is now Ryan. And I have been for probably the past 8 months. And you can really feel it and you can really see it. Like I said, and I don't want to say it's less work to prepare. Obviously, still prepare for any webinar or any presentation or panel that I might join on, but you're getting me, and some people might not like it, but guess what? More people are liking it than not because it's like, man, this guy sounds just like so and so, or Dwyght sounds just like this person. No, I want Dwyght to be Dwyght, and Ryan's got to be Ryan. We both know what we know, and we both can add tremendous value to this industry and quite frankly, many others. So I just found it easy to just, you know, be
Yeah,
this
no, you're right. I think for
so much
That
me,
easier.
when I did my 2 hour free live a few weeks ago, and I had about a good decent crowd show up. It was a little nerve-wracking at first because I felt like I had to do a lot of preparation, but then like I had to think about it. I'm like, you know this stuff. You know, you don't have to put all the whistles and bells on this presentation, like, because I don't normally do PowerPoint presentations. Like I know how to do them, don't ever want to do them because I feel like they're boring. You know, and for me, it's just like I just know what I know. So like to put it into organized fashion now makes me feel like, am I skipping ahead? Am I, speaking before I need to about certain things? Where it's just like, you know what? If you just organize it, hey, this is topic one, this is topic two, this is topic three, and just go. You know, if people got questions, you answer those questions. And once I got into that comfort zone, it was just like, okay, I'm on to something. And I compare, or like some people like to, some of the friends that I have in the industry, they were like, oh, well, you want to be the Louis Mazzaro out there. You need to stand up behind your computer and talk or whatever the case is. And I'm like, that's not me. Like, I'm a person where I like to share my screen. I like to make sure people understand the details of what I'm teaching versus, me teaching it from a surface level. And then they're second guessing where it's like, what did he mean? Can he put up an example? That's the only way I know how to teach is like, hey, you know what? Step one, you do this. Step two, you do this. Step three, you do this. And hopefully you get to the answer you need to get. And that's the way my teaching style works. And, sometimes it's a little overwhelming for the people that's in the industry, in my opinion, because a lot of these, especially newer movers, and some existing movers don't really know the numbers to that extent. They just know how to make money.
But are they making money?
That's the thing.
They know how to bring in the revenue, but ultimately, like, are they making money? Is the question I ask all the time. Oh yeah, we're crushing. We did 2 million last year. We did 3 million last year. How much did you put in the bank? It's one thing,
Hmm.
2 mil or 3 mil or 4 mil, but if you've got 2 mil, 3 mil, 4 mil plus going out and leaking and hemorrhaging everywhere, you're not making squat, man. You're not making anything. And again, unfortunately, that's a very common piece in this industry. I mean, you got people that work their butts off for 120 days of summer, only really to pay back, Q1 and Q2's basically deficits, right?
Exactly.
And then it's like, hey, let's fight through let's fight through Q4 to, hopefully we can pay the electric, we can do this, we can keep guys on, and man, let's wait for, can't wait for peak season again, right? So we can
It's
all
a
wrap
battle.
up debt, pay debt off. We credit lines and then pay credit lines off. It's like, guys, there's a better way. There's such an easier way. It's such an
And
easier way to do
I think
this.
it comes down to education, like you mentioned.
100%.
Well, if you didn't mention, but if you did, but I think it definitely comes down to education because until I started opening like Mike McCallowitz books and understanding traction and all the stuff that people avoid listening to reading because they feel like they don't have time to. I listen to audiobooks. I don't have time to sit in front of a book and read it all day. My mind is wandering too much. But while I'm while I'm listening to that audiobook, it gives me ideas on the back end. So even if my mind is wandering, it's wandering about the topics that they're talking about. And then now it's like, okay, you know what? That makes sense. Mike McCallowitz talked about having 7 different bank accounts. Oh, snap. Let me sit back and think about this. And, when I started implementing that a few years ago, now I started seeing cash flow. So that net profit that was on my P&L statement was actually in my bank account or more. And I was like, oh, snap. I didn't get somewhere. Now I have rainy day money. So when I leave the busy season, I have money so that we can stay afloat and I don't have to continue to take loans out to try to stay up Q1.
It is. And you also, man, if you're having great months, great weeks, great years, you got to stash those nuts.
Hmm.
Just never know what. In my 10 plus years or 12 years in the industry, every year was a little bit different, right? So it was like one year this was hot, the next year this was it. If you're not stashing those nuts for another 2023 season or another potential start of COVID when you're really not sure what the heck is going on, stop buying the Rolexes, quit going out and buying the $80,000, $90,000 SUVs because you had a great month or a great quarter, or what have you. Stash that up. I mean, man, I see it, especially on the Facebook side of things, man. Now that I'm in all these different groups, it's like
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching these folks. I mean, spending 12 to 15K on Rolexes, which is great, right? I mean, if you can truly afford that, if you've got that expendable income to drop it like that, do it. I encourage you. You earned it, you deserved it. But man, if you don't know your numbers and you're out there buying Rollies and Escalades, like, whoa. Again, my opinion, right? I'm a little frugal. I'm a little different than the rest, but I just see it all too often, man. It's just like, wow. I hope you are truly crushing it and you truly know your numbers to be able to basically spread that all over. But, fast forward to 3 months, it's like that same truck is now for sale on Facebook Marketplace. And I'm like, what happened? But I will buy your Rolly from you at a decent rate, though. I will definitely get that.
Yeah, no, this is what is those called? One of those phantom industries where you feel like you're above the world when you hit the summer months. And you feel like there's nobody's touching you, you're the best. And then when you hit the winter months, you're like, what the hell? I was just up. And it definitely messes with your emotions too much versus, just trying to maintain in your mind the level of steadiness. And I think the only way you could maintain that in your mind is if you're always preparing for the next season. Hey, we're going into the summer months, but we need to be preparing for the slow months. Maybe if we do it right, we won't start to see a slowness until probably like November. And even then, sometimes we haven't seen, we had I think a 60,000 December month one time. And to us, that was a really great month. And then we started feeling like kind of like January, February, and then so on. But up north, you're going to feel it. It's just a matter of when. When you get -7 degrees out, don't expect that there's going to be 30 moves on the board that day.
But I would love to see a day, and there's a lot of companies that, when I say a lot of companies, I mean, there's hundreds of companies out there doing this now, that there is no peak and non-peak season. They're continually steady. Now they have their peaks and their valleys throughout that season, but there's no seasonality anymore for a lot of companies. But again, there's a ton of different work out there. And I think that's where, if we can kind of remove our hats as movers and say, what else can leverage people, trucks, pickup, put in, move, storage, what have you. There's so many different lines of business out there right in your backyard. And I don't care what marketplace you're in. I guarantee you, give me 10 minutes on Google, let me know where your marketplace is. I'll find you 2 or 3 different streams of revenue. Now, again, they might be massive, that are going to be a game changer right away. You got to build that relationship with these companies and what have you to truly, go deeper and deeper into their, to get more revenue from these folks. But it's there. You just have to. Eventually, this household moving thing, I just feel like it's just going to slowly just kind of, it's been declining ever since I've been in the industry, right? And I'm sure everyone can probably, whoever's listening can agree with that. I mean, give me a year where household absolutely increased, like standard household goods.
Oh, it's been bad the last few years, but it's every year is every year. I think one summer I really crushed it, but maybe because I had short staff and I felt like I crushed it, but that's probably what it was, where I had like I think 50 jobs in 2 weeks, and we probably had only about 10 employees, and we're open 7 days a week, so it's just 30 jobs back to back. Get this done, go right into the next week. I'm in the field every day, and I'm getting exhausted, but I'm like, you know what, you got to be here for your guys, and I'm like, yo, is this how it's going to be? And then the next summer, I'm like, you know what? We need more guys. Let's get 20 guys instead of 10 guys. And then you don't ever have that type of energy. You don't ever have that type of summer. And they're just like, what the hell?
That's the thing, like mental capacity and burnout, right? Like, and I'm sure you lived this probably way more than I did, Dwight. But when you have those 50 jobs over 2 weeks, running 7 days a week, you as the owner of the company, just imagine, what that did to you. Send that down onto your guys, right? You've got the skin in the game. You're the CEO. You're the president. These guys are employees. They've got families. They've got kids, just like you do, right? But that's my biggest thing, is just like, holy cow, I feel like we burn the snot out of our guys over 120 days, just straight burnout. It's like, and this is where planning comes in. I mean, complete planning needs to happen. Don't put the same guys on back-to-back 10,000-pound local moves, or, back-to-back 200 plus carton pack jobs. Like, leverage technology, use a little bit of AI to basically know and say, hey, you know what? Dwyght was just on a 12,000 pound local move over the course of a day and a half. Like, I might put him in the warehouse to do some vaulting or whatever the next day because he's going to be beat. Now, I don't want to put Dwyght on a 12,000 pound move one day, and then day 2 he's on a 10,000 pound local, and then day 3 he's on a 8,000 pound local. You're going to have claims. You're going to be frustrated. You're automatically going to start talking about what? I need more money. And I'm sure we all hear that. I've been working my butt off. I need more cash. So I think the more we can plan with our guys, we can reduce the burnout and just have a healthier workforce, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, it drove me nuts watching guys.
I think it comes down to that ranking system that people like to put on their employees, though. Oh, well, this is my A team, this is my B team, blah, blah. And it's like, well, we got a big job Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I need my best guys on those jobs. And like you mentioned, well, hey, I was just on a 12,000 pound job on Monday. Now you got me on an 8,000 pound job on Tuesday. And then, oh snap, I had what do you call it? Extended cab trucks that could fit 4 to 5 guys in it. So most of my big jobs, I'm like, well, hey, I'm gonna do 4 guys, 1 truck. So it's that same crew kind of going out there. And I'm like, well, if y'all can feed off each other's energy, I know you guys are tired, but we're gonna get through this week. I'll give you guys Sunday off because hey, now we're working 6 days a week, but you'll be back Monday. But and these guys, we allow them to feed into our mental state. I think our movers, where they're like, boss, I need that 50 hours. I need to get this money. I'm willing to work. And you're like, and then you start to see that they're sluggish on the job. And you're just like, but I thought you said you needed to work. I don't have anybody else that I could put here, but you should have thought ahead. They're like, yo, this guy's getting tired. He's worked 3 or 4 days straight right now. He's definitely getting tired. I need to sub him out or put somebody else in his place.
Yeah, and you're going to have those situations, right? Like, we did our damnness to make sure that we weren't putting Dwyght on back-to-back big moves. But you're spot on. You happen to get where you need that critical A team on a national account move or whatever it is, a large commercial move. Like, yeah, guys, guess what? I know Monday and Tuesday, blah, 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 whatever the case is. Today's going to be one more hard day. But here's what I'm going to do. And we would incentivize that and basically give them not cash, obviously from a business perspective, what have you, wouldn't dump it in paychecks and things so they lose their tax, but we go and buy them Visa gift cards. You give them a couple $100, spend $600-700 on Visa gift cards for those guys that have been just cranking out. I mean, if you're doing that much work and these guys are handling that much poundage an hour, whatever the case may be, you should be able to have the funds to go ahead and compensate them a little bit more. So then it's like, yeah, we're tired, this sucks, it's what have you, but guess what? I got a little injection of cash here. When I know I get back, I'm going to get them gift cards from Dwyght. It's Saturday morning. I'm not used to working Saturdays anymore, man, since I've been out of the industry. But yeah, I mean, just those little things, I think, shows that you care. It shows that you know that these guys have been working their butts off for the past 2-3 days. Day 3 is going to be another hard day. But guess what, guys? I'm here for you. Then swing in with some drinks, not pizza. Movers hate pizza, but whatever they want when it comes to like a snack or something like that, right? Like, take care of the people that are ultimately taking care of you. And it works super, super well for us because we were on the flip side of that, of burning people out. Same guys, same crew on every stinking large job. Because hey, it's our A team. We got to put them on all the A team moves, right? But then we kind of got away from like, why do we just have one A team? Why can't our entire team be an A team? How do we get to that point where it's not like we have an A, B, and a C? Like, imagine telling your customer, like, I'm going to send you my C team. Or you tell the customer, I'm going to send you my B team. Like, if I hear that, is like when I had a gas leak a while back, if this vendor told me, hey, you know what? I don't have my A team, but I'm going to send you my B minus team. And I'm thinking, like, I got a gas leak. You're trying to fix my gas and you're not sending me the A team? Like, what am I getting quality wise? Right. So I think the more we can, kind of get away from that too. But yeah, this can go in all sorts of rabbit holes here, I would think.
Shoot, you done remind me of what Clip said, like back to like our 5th episode when he was like, I can't believe those guys did that, Miss Lewis. He was like, are you kidding me? But that's part of like Cliff, that's why I tell you that's part of my mind wandering. Like, I don't really forget things. It's just no, you're right. It sucks. We wish we could bring up every team's morale and make them every team a team, but we just know that there's just factors that, we're working against the grain trying to make these guys all A teams, you know. That's why everybody can't be first place. Somebody got to come in second.
Yeah, that's where you incentivize. You have a working scorecard for your movers, so all the movers know where they rank on a 0 to 5 scale, a green, yellow, red, basically based on many different pieces, right? 5-star reviews, correct paperwork. Is the truck basically ready to roll? Close ready to open, open ready to close. And when you start broadcasting that scorecard across like your operations department, it is a live screen, right? You'd be very surprised how you up all these people's games. And again, as an ex-athlete, I still consider myself an athlete, just washed up as hell. But I'm still trying to get back to it. But imagine playing, I mean, Cliff, imagine fighting without a scorecard. If you fought and there was no winner, why are you fighting, right? I was a baseball guy. So if I'm out there and we play 9 innings of baseball or 7 or whatever the hell the case is, and nobody keeps score, like what incentivizes you to do your best, to want to become the best? Because at that point, who's winning? And if you're not keeping a scorecard, I feel like your employees, the only person they think is winning is Dwyght and the moving company. They don't feel like the employees are winning. It's all Dwyght. We just did a $10,000 move. That's going to Dwyght. We didn't win. So I think the more you can keep score and really have fun and kind of have an internal competition, and then ultimately, hey, your top guys get put on the best jobs. And those best jobs typically tip higher. So now the better you get, the better jobs you're getting, more tips you're getting, the more money you're making. Plus, you can start adjusting some of that hourly or salary or however flat rate, however you compensate your guys. And it works. It doesn't take long to set up. And quite frankly, it doesn't take a lot of buy-in from your people because they're like, wow, you're going to keep score. You're going to track. And then guess what? If you're a green guy, you're a top player. If you're a yellow guy, you're average. You got a couple weeks to get back in the green. Otherwise, you're going to be down in the red. If you're in the red, you're not going to be out on jobs. You're not going to be getting tips. You're probably going to be in the warehouse. You're going to be doing duties and things that you probably don't want to do, but they need to get done. Right? So nobody wants to go out and mow grass and weed whack. Right? They want to go out and be in front of customers to engage and get tips and expand their own paychecks and their own pockets for the family. So having that basically red, yellow, green chart, keeping score, again, it worked for us. And I know there's many, many other agencies out there now that I'm really talking to, thousands of moving companies at this point. It's out there and it works. It's just, I'm surprised not more people don't talk about it. I don't know if it's like a top secret thing, but like it works.
No, that sounds like an amazing idea. And like I said, it's like I'm listening to an audiobook. I can get ideas where, it's just one of those things where, like you was mentioning about the scorecard, where you broadcast it live and basically people can see their names dropping from yellow to green to red or whatever the case is. And they're just coming in the morning. They're just like, geez, I was an 80.5 customer satisfaction rate. Now I'm like a 79. Oh man, I got to step this up. And you could just see their name fluctuating based on their level of performance daily or whatever the case is. I think that would be official.
No, you tie in claims, you tie in reviews, you tie in, I don't want to do the term paperwork because most people are basically digital at this point, right? But just making sure that is all done correctly. And, you tie in every aspect. And if you have some triggers or some areas in your business that, whether it be claims or whether it be an operational piece or, the trucks, no one's doing their pre-trip or the trucks are dirty when they come back. If you put these things on a scorecard, you'd be very surprised how clean, neat, and straight everything ends up turning out. Your reviews are going up, your claims are going down because the guys are bought in. They care. There's a scorecard. People want to win. And even people that aren't athletes, who likes to lose? I don't know. I'm sure Cliff's got something wild he can talk on that, but I don't know anybody personally that says, I wake up every day and I'm excited to lose. And there's people out there.
Even when they say that, it's just bullshit anyway. My wife tried pulling that one time. She goes, "Yeah, we're just here to have fun." I go, "Winning is fun." She goes, "No, it doesn't matter if you win or lose." I go, "Hey, who here wants to lose? Raise your hand if you want to lose." No one raises their hand. And what I love about what you're talking about, Ryan, it's a system. Like that's what it is. It's a system. And when a person has a system and they're not, because this is where it gets interesting. When a person feels blamed or shamed or guilted or anything like that, their morale goes down. But if they feel like they're going after something, it brings it up. And it allows them to see, okay, where does this line up? Like even something as simple as a traffic light, that is a system. And when we're aware and when we can see it, we can do something about it. We need feedback loops. And what I learned, the difference between business and fighting, there's not a better feedback loop than getting punched in the face. You learn really, really fast. And you go, oh, the feedback loops are off. It's always a feedback loop problem. You get that right, you're going to have A team, A team, A team. And what's really, really cool, as a business owner, when you know your strengths and your weaknesses, that's a plus. That's a plus because now you know what I do, who I serve. As Ryan was talking about, I'm just going to be me. When I'm me, my people show up. The people who who are supposed to show up are going to show up. The people who aren't, they're not going to show up. So I'm just going to be fully me, and I'm going to be the full potential of me. That's how I look at it. When I'm full potential me, my people pay me well, I can pay my people well, and we all win.
And it ties it all back into like this whole conversation been going about compare syndrome. Now there is a level, there is a place and level for it. You know, when you're at a grounds level in a company, entry level, whatever the case is, and maybe you're competing with your other guys or whatever the case is to go out and do the best job you can so you can be higher up on the board. That's at that level. But when you become an owner and you're at the top of that organizational chart by yourself, the only person you want to compete with is essentially yourself. You know, you don't want to be competing with the moving owner down the street. You don't want to be competing with these people. Internally or from a business standpoint, yes. But from an internal standpoint, no. You just want to run your race because what they do over there is what made them unique. And a lot of people, you know, and I think, like I said, I'm big for it where I see a lot of people in the industry and I'm just like, oh, geez, you know, what if I incorporated that? But like Cliff mentioned earlier today, it's two sides to the coin. You don't know what that negative side of what you see is good about them because maybe they're only presenting the good. When you ask anybody today, you go down the street and say, hey, how you doing today? Oh, I'm doing great. You're like, oh, they're doing great. I wish I was doing like that. You know, but they're only telling you what you want to hear. They're only showing you what you want to see, but they're not showing you what's actually going wrong in their company, and they're just hiding behind that smile on their face. And
be more real talk in this industry, right? And it's just, you know, it's funny because you sit there and you talk with some of these owners like, hey, how was your year in 2023? How was it, man? Most moving companies, oh, we crushed it, we killed it, and I'm just sitting there like, what lines of business are you? How well diversified? Like what? No, we just do local moves, and I'm like, and you crushed it in 2023 with just local moves. Like, no, like, no. So, but you know, I'm a prime example of that, though, not in the moving side, but a personal side. And I'm not going to go into details. You know, I was able to discuss this with Cliff last Friday, but there was a year and a half of my life that when people were asking me, how are you? How are things? How's this? Everything was amazing. Everything was great. High five, fist bump, whatever. When the inside of me was absolutely destroyed. And you would have never known. And Dwyght, honestly, when I met you in New York, that was during that time. Would you have ever thought that I was like absolutely just blown up and devastated on the inside?
no,
Full of energy, high fiving, hugging, spreading love, I mean, you never know anybody's story, but at the same time, there's no need to BS, right? Now, my case wasn't a BS situation. It was just there's no need to tell people what the hell's going on, right? Now, I had my folks with different strokes that I felt comfortable talking with, but you never know what someone's going through. But at the end of the day, man, it's just there's got to be more real talk in the industry about pain points, what's wrong, what's working, what have you. But a lot of these guys, they just hold everything so close to the chest, and they're afraid to. Same with the financials. They're afraid to ask for that help because they feel as an owner that they should know, you know. And I ask for help all the time with my business, mostly on the financial side. What should I be paying attention to? What should I be looking for? And what are the top 3 KPIs and metrics that I should be paying attention to every day, every week, and every month? And it's okay to ask for help. And for anybody that's watching, I would say reach out to Tracy Beck. I don't know if you guys know her at all, but
sounds familiar.
60 Minute CFO. So her father's Dave Duryea, who was kind of, moving guru, financial legend. I've got the book over here somewhere, but great book. And
Hmm.
Tracy's just the most down to earth, humble, amazing, just an amazing human outside of what she does. She's all over the place, belongs to so many different groups, and she loves helping movers. But the thing is, you got to ask, right? I mean, that's the first step, right? You got to ask for help,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she'll
I
change your whole perspective and your bottom line, guaranteed.
Gotcha.
I
Gotcha.
my biggest thing, I've been in personal development since I was 19 years old. And there's a saying, your inner determines your outer. It's all an internal game. And people have to figure that out. When they figure it out, different industries are figuring things out at different times. Personal development is not widely spread quite yet. But now, Ryan, you're kind of making that my mission, to be honest with you, because as I hear people's stories, one thing that I've noticed, people tell me their deep shit, and they
Hmm.
tell it to me because I get it. I'm not there to judge anybody. I'm not there to say, "Oh my goodness, that's so terrible." I'm there to listen, and when I can listen, I can help. That's what it comes down to. And I get why people have trouble listening. And this is such an interesting thing because people wouldn't think they have trouble listening. But as a personal trainer, people have trouble with their diets. Surprise, surprise. People have trouble with their recovery. People have trouble exercising. But everyone think, oh no, I'm good. I got this. I'm and so the perfect cliff, when I say the perfect cliff, I'm a guy who's going to slip, make mistakes, mess up, fumble, bumble, scratch my knee, but that has to happen for the other thing to happen. For the person who gets into the UFC, for the person who's getting his hand raised. It does you don't get one without the other. It doesn't work that way. Like how do I get through how do I get from here to here with no turbulence? You don't. Like it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar to I guess what you were trying to say, but the thing is, it's too it's in a sense, society isn't the same anymore. Society used to be a whole lot more tougher, especially during the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. It used to be a whole lot tougher. Think about when people went into the military, people were getting screamed at, and people were, really going through the works. And now it's to the society where people are talking about mental health days. That didn't exist. We're talking about, maybe 5, 10 years ago, where people were like, oh, boss, I need a day off. I need a mental health day. And I don't have to give you a reason why. I just need to say I need a mental health day. You know, or, very, like I said, very similar to what Cliff was saying, where it's just like, because people feel that it's some people still feel like who will listen if I complained? Or, or it's one of those things where what is it? What I guess I'm trying to say is they would think people don't care. So to complain, it would only be an excuse. And I think that's why some people don't even want to come forward. They're like, you know what, I don't need help. I need to get this, because if I tell them that, I'm struggling mentally or I'm struggling in this area, or whatever the case is, they're just going to call it an excuse. And that makes you feel even worse as a human being, where you're just like, no, I'm truly struggling and I don't know where to go. And you're just calling it an excuse. Like I was in network marketing as a prime example. And when I was in network marketing, I reached out to over 1,000 people and I just couldn't get them to commit to whatever I was trying to sell them. And I was just like, but I'm doing everything. I'm listening to all the people talk to me about, educational level, what I should be doing to approach them, whatever the case is. And I'm speaking and I'm running through my list and I just can't get them to buy in. This is BS. I don't know if this is for me. And then I would talk to my upline people and they were like, oh, you're just making excuses. You know, for every few people you talk to, you should have one that wants to convert. And I'm just like, I'm not making an excuse. I'm doing everything you guys have told me. I wrote step 1 through 5. It's not working. And it just makes a person want to give up because they're hearing you, or or now they're afraid to even come to you because you just tell them that is an excuse that they're complaining, they're whining.
Yeah, to me, that's, is it the person or is it the process? And I always lean towards the process before I go ahead and say it's the person. So I don't know what process that they had, but again, this is where you tie in the metrics and the data and all that, because it'd be easy for me to be like, if I was the CEO of that company, oh, Dwight, we've got an awesome process. It's you. You just can't get it done. When reality is the process broken where you're following that process. It's just not a good process. So it's not the person, it's not Dwight. It's the process that's jacked up. But again, if you don't have the metrics behind all of that, now if you have 10 sales reps or 10 closers and all 9 of them are following the process and they're crushing it, and there's only one person that's not, to me at that point, it's the person. It's not the
Yeah.
process, right? But if you don't leverage that data, and I feel that's a big thing in the industry here is, well, so-and-so's closing at 60%, so-and-so's 20%. Well, you don't have a sales process. The guy closing at 60% is a veteran who's just amazing with people and building relationships and building rapport. No shit, he's closing 60%. You got somebody that doesn't like people on the phone, that is short, is like just not bubbly, blah. No wonder why they're closing 30%. Like, how do we get
Sitting there, I wonder what's going on.
oh, it ties into a deeper question. I'd love to hear Cliff's thing on this, right? And this is just kind of like humanity. Is like, I grew up, and probably a lot of us did too, is like, you don't complain, you grind out your work, you find a way to do it, you don't show emotion, you just show up and kick butt. I gotta watch what I say, but I shouldn't, because I'm gonna be me, right?
No,
So
don't watch what you say. Just let it all
you
out.
show up and you kick
I-
ass, right? But I also feel that's a major problem, because there's been many points in my life where I barely could show up. But when I did show up, I had to put on this big facade of nothing's wrong. Let's go. Let's crush it. And, what I've learned over the past 2 years is, guess what? It's okay to throw your hands in the air and say, I need a freaking break. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Mentally, I'm exhausted. It's okay to cry. I've cried more in the past year and a half than I have in my 39 years of existence. And guess what? I felt effing wonderful. I gotta be careful what I say there, but it's so great. And I find myself on walks. I take a lot of walks now. I used to not make fun of people, I don't make fun of anybody, but I used to make fun of people walking. So I'm like, why don't you jog or like interval sprint walk or do something? But I walk every day, sometimes twice a day. And the mental clarity, I pop in the headphones, listen to podcasts, I come up with ideas. Some of them are absolutely terrible. By the time I get home, I'm like, what were you thinking? And there's walks where I've cried for 2 miles thinking about the past year, the past 2 years, and quite frankly, thinking about how far I've came with the company I work for and celebrating all those mini wins. And I think we kind of get away from, we all tend to try to celebrate the big championships and the Super Bowls and all. Let's start celebrating some of the mini wins. I feel like that's critical for our mental status, sort of say. But I mean, Cliff, like this is your space, this is your area, man. Like, I'd love to. And we're probably running up on time too, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on kind of that old school perspective of grind it out, be tough. And now we say we're in this new age piece, but is it really just people kind of being like, hey, I need a mental health day because I know me and I need this time. Otherwise, what's the point of me showing up at work if I can't produce? Because up here is cloudy as hell.
Yeah. My ultimate thing is leadership will lead the way. And if you're a good leader, everything works. And it works because you know how to communicate effectively and you know how to get things out of people to communicate effectively as well. And you also have the data and the numbers to back things up. Because, if you don't have any numbers, what do? You're throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks, and then you're just kind of doing it again. But if there was data and they said, well, Dwyght, 9 of the guys are getting it right, and there's something that you're missing, so let's figure this out. Not, oh, well, you're doing it wrong, our process works. Yeah, the process works. The other process is eat right and exercise. Yeah, that effing works every single time. That never goes wrong, surprisingly. But we're dealing with human beings. And just to deny a human being like, oh, you're doing something wrong, like, well, help them out. And that's the kind of leader I am. Hey, help your people, help them, or help them out too. Help them get out. Maybe they don't belong there, and that's fine. But communicate it effectively, and I say kindly. Be kind to people. Because why not? Like, And if someone's not going to be kind to you, you don't want to be around that anyway. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. So I
Empathy
would
and
say,
compassion.
so I would say it's all about mentals. When I first started, I know, and we're at the top of the episode, but when I first started in the industry and I seen, these really big guys, moving company owners and stuff like that, it was like, hey, we got this system in place. We got this system in place. Oh, we're making this much money. And maybe at that point I was only making about 300,000, 400,000 a year, but I was like, oh, I want to be like that guy. But mentally, you have to be ready. And it's just like anything in life. You have to be ready. Like Ryan said, he started going on walks. I started doing a lot more what do you call it? What is it? Meditating. And now it's like before a year ago or 2 years ago, meditate? What is that? Your brain don't have time for that because mentally I wasn't ready for it. But now that I have been able to do it, it's just like, oh man, like this has been a sigh of relief. I can think, I can see clarity. But you have to be mentally ready. And maybe you won't be ready for a year or 2 years, whatever the case is. But as long as you're working towards that, your mind will present itself as ready when it's time. But we are at the top of the hour, y'all. So, or not top of the hour, but top of the episode. So, Cliff, you know what to do. You got to take us home.
Well, I got to say, amazing episode, guys. You guys always drop the knowledge. Ryan, it's great to have you on. And ultimately, as we go through this process, let's be the best leaders that we can be. Let's show up the way that we want to show up, and let's play at our 10 and also get our processes at our 10 and our systems at our 10 and always striving for more. Keep striving for more, keep striving for better. Why? Because you get better results when you do it.
Definitely. Run your own race, So, all right, y'all. Amazing episode.
All right, guys.
See y'all next week. Turn up.
Have a great one. Take care.
Cheers.